We be cooking. On our way to comp day, we are in 4 week out mode. It is a deload as such, kind of deload because 4 weeks out we still need to kind of push a little bit. We can still build muscles, we can still get stronger, we can still get more technical. Getting technical with light weights is too easy, so you need to have some load so you can practice the sport with some decent weight on the bar. But we need to not absolutely ruin and cook ourselves. So that's kind of the model for the week of training this week. Mucked around with the bench a little, did some different stuff there. But how do you kind of train? You need a little bit of load, but not too much load. Need a bit of challenge, but not too much challenge. The RPE model, I feel, for this stuff is perfect. Be thought out in what you're trying to do. Think about that RPE, but just let the barbell kind of decide what you do for the day. So that way, if you are a little bit more tired than you had realised, the barbell will let you know. So you just do a tiny bit less so you don't wreck yourself. Because for me personally, next week, today's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 more days, my last deadlift session. I cannot fucking wait. We're going to have a little chat about intent coming up when we go through the deadlift and what that kind of means. But we'll just talk about intent in general, what that means for me leading into a big session. That intent is not just in the session itself. That intent is outside the session. I am thinking about that session to almost an extreme amount of thoughts. It's consuming and built up a little tent inside my head, that session, and how much we think about it. And I think about all the positives, all the things that are going to go right. I think about all the things I've been doing to allow myself to do that session so it's going to go right. I think about how it's going to feel about how it's going to be hard and be cool with it being hard. We got the game plan of pulling 300. I want to do it for 2 singles. I'm far enough out, I think, to be able to hit 2 big singles. For me personally, I want to be able to repeat effort at a big weight because I know when I go to comp, the target is to pull 300 a little bit more. So if I can't at least pull 300 and then 300 again, or maybe a touch less if needed, we're going to be in trouble. So I think we need to do that, which would be cool. And also, personally, I've never pulled 300 in the gym, so very fucking pumped for that too. The other thing that I think is an interesting discussion point coming into a comp kind of 4 weeks out, and I think obviously a lot of your space in your brain is collected towards that single event and driving all your training and all your thought process around that. Really good way to do. However, 4 weeks' time for me, that comp is done. I've been singularly focused on one single event for my own sporting endeavour for this whole year, essentially, for 12 months. At the end of that 4th week, it is over. I'm a goal-orientated beast like all of us, and I know if I don't start thinking about what's next and allow myself to have a bit of thought about that, start creating some goals and some ideas for next year, I'm not going to have any momentum coming up. I'm going to come off a holiday. I'm going to be like buggered. I'm going to be lazy, like all of us. I'm going to be fumbling around. But if I start allowing a little bit of space back here whilst I'm being consumed by working towards this big goal, to start thinking about the things I want to do in the new year, what I want to work towards, that'll be very handy for when I get home from holidays so I can hit the ground running with training. Early thoughts, many ideas are popping around. I know physically I feel super strong. Not just in the deadlift though, a little byproduct of all the cool stuff I've been doing in my training, my squat's feeling really strong. So that makes me very curious if I could line up the timing wise, because training for 3 lift takes up a lot more time than a single lift. Maybe the idea of a 3 lift. So at the very least, when we come home, I want to keep pushing the squat, make it nice and strong. I'm enjoying my upper body day, overhead day. I'm going to keep doing that, having lots of fun with that. I'm going to keep up doing what I'm doing. That's not prioritizing the bench press. It's just having an upper body day and having fun. And the deadlifts, we're going to sit and wait. I do feel like the number of pullover there will be special. It'll be nice. Whether we want to do another big one like that anytime soon, we'll see. However, I do know there is another Worlds next year. I do know the following year after that, we're trying to bring it here to Australia, so the chance of me competing in that is probably slim to absolutely zero because we'll be helping organise it. So potentially next year might be the next big one I'll be able to do for a while at a big event, so to speak. So I will definitely reflect on how we've done everything here and start potentially working towards that. And then also, I am always very curious around Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Many lifetimes ago, I trained it quite a lot, got reasonably okay at it, and have taken a very long break. Every now and then I moonlight, have a little cuddle and a roll with some people, but I've never managed to take it back on properly. At the end of the training run, I'm starting to think about doing this thing again. What it'll look like, we'll see, but hopefully I'd like to be able to find the time to do that once a week. Now anyway, coming up, check out the training. Cruisy week, but it is absolutely setting me up for next week. We are off and benching. That's right. Next 3 or 4 weeks, I thought I'd take advantage of all the hard work I've put into some shoulder stability to make my shoulder feel nice and good so I can get back and do a little bench pressing. Not too caught up in the weight, just happy to be doing some bench press first up. In this session, we hit 100 for a single just to see how I'm feeling and see where things are at for the day. 120 was the weight we hit there. No wraps, no belt, no toys, no need. We won't be using those things to sort of add a little bit of a limiting factor on how much we can push. We'll be with a little bit of honesty. The old forearms and wrists are a little beat up from the knee wrapping, like I keep talking about. So I don't think we'll see anything groundbreaking here with the bench press, but this will be the model. Hit 100 for a single, warm up to a heavier single, hit some back down reps, hitting that 5 to 8 region as we kind of discovered in the last couple of training runs. Spotto press has felt very nice for me, not having that extra range of movement. Gives the old shoulderino a bit of a break. So we'll use the Spotto press and keep pushing this along. I do get a nice little pec pump as well. And my new favourite exercise. There is no way that one right here is leaving the program. I generally enjoy doing this. Being that this was the main movement on the last training block, and it is now 3 exercises deep into this training session. I certainly don't need to be moving the weights I was moving on the last one. So you can see I just got a 10 aside. Last training block, we managed to get a 10 and a 5 on. We'll just sit here in a 10, maybe add a little change. I really only have another couple of sessions in country to muck around with this, so I won't be doing anything too crazy here, particularly mindful that I don't want to beat up my shoulders and upper back too much because I need to deadlift within the next day. And here we go. What I've done here is a little fast zoomed through version of how I warm up for my deadlift session. Now, this is a deload session. Going into a deload session, the most, I think, popular way is to come in with a deload mindset. That is, you are cruising, you are schnoozing, you are not being too thought out, and in fact, in my personal opinion, particularly if you are getting close to a comp, this is a wasted fucking session. Today, if I was a rugby league footballer kicking goals for the game and practicing it, this would be my chance to practice my sport just like a rugby league player kicking goals. He goes out and practice a few kicks the night before the big game. I am considering this is my last chance to practice my sport of deadlifting before the big show, which is next week. I'm also starting to be a little bit more mindful and planning out what the plan is for comp day to get to where I need to go. Loose plan already thinking as I want to be landing around a 302.5 for a second, so that means a 280 first attempt is the most likely choice for an opener, meaning I will probably hit my last warm-up around 257.5, roundabouts. So that means 260 needs to look like a fucking warm-up. So that was the target today. Warm up to 260 and make it look like a warm-up room weight. Practice all the things I need to practice that I would do for a comp. So I warmed up like it was a comp. I got fired up like it was a comp. I set up like it was a comp. And I thought like today was a comp. I'm grabbing this bar thinking that it is 300 kilos. thinking about all the things I need to do, being intentful, being absolutely deliberate, and tacking this thing off the fucking ground. I'm thinking to myself, how easy does this 220 need to move if I want to pull over 300? Or next up, the 260. What do I need to do to this thing if I want it to be an opener? I want it to be my last warm-up or so. And if I want to pull at least 42 more kilos, I need to fucking lift this thing up and throw it over my head with some intent. So there we go. That's what it looks like. Feels good. Moving in to the squat session. Squat sessions it's a funny one. Like we talked at the start, it's definitely a bit of a deload. I need to make sure I don't overdo it because I did this on Saturday. I am lifting on Wednesday for the big one. However, I'm now still 4 weeks out from the thing. I can still build more muscles. I can still get stronger. I can still get better. I can still use the squat to build more leg strength, more back strength, etc. So what do? We hit the 175 like we have been doing. See how it feels. As you can see, I'm back on the straight bar. My back, my shoulders all recovered from that big session the other week. We jump another 30. Get a little fired up. Not overdoing it. This felt like the right weight. I wanted to hit a single. I'm thinking RPE 8 would be about the right spot to hit it. This is about right. And then upon reflection, this lands at about 90% of my actual max that I've done quite a while ago, 225.5. So I think being able to finish this training run, let's call it, with a 90% single on an easier week is pretty cool. That's what does give me a little bit of excitement around what my squat could possibly do if we actually trained it and got after it a little bit. I think we could get a pretty good one. Messing around with it. Here we go. Zip. Straight up. The thing that I'm excited about is my squat's getting nice and stable. We're not bobbling, joggling around in the leg. The knee's feeling a lot better as well. I've been doing all the little things to make it feel good. Coach Kenny approves that one. Thank you very much. For the rest of the session, we just played it pretty simple. Got out of the belt, jumped into some pauses, working on some speed on the way up. I ditched the chains. They were nice, however, I am considerate of that sort of loose term deload or / just taking a little bit easier. So just taking one thing away so I don't absolutely cook myself. I can report I did wake up from this session feeling good. I slept really well because I'm not absolutely buggered central nervous system wise. A little bit of stiffness in the old legs and soreness means I had a nice good session. Rest of the session after that, we just hit some safety bar good mornings. They'll be coming up shortly. We ripped through those. Those are a big exercise, this training block. I haven't really explored those before this year, just being scared like I've talked about of my back and what it would do, but who would have thought there's no such thing as a bad exercise, just badly done exercises. This is one of those ones when I sit back and reflect on this training block and some of the successful things that I added in. This is absolutely one of them. I think for me, coming into the new year, this will be something I will look forward to pushing up to see what we can do with it. Now, coming up next week, I'm going to do a little bit of a light bench early in the week. We'll do very similar to what we've done in the videos. And then we are going to be warming up for the big show. Super pumped. Got a few people coming in to lift as well as they prep for their worlds. Plus, we'll have a good crew. Plus, most importantly, the family will be there cheering us on. And all we're thinking about is those numbers we want to lift in that session. Thanks for watching, crew. We will see you all next week.